So, we're having a great time so far. So welcome to the 36th Double High anniversary of Beaver Lake. Theme for tonight, as you may have seen on the posters we have out there and the t-shirts that waitresses were walking around with. Our theme for tonight, oh, there we go, now we got it, is honoring our past and celebrating our future. We'll be honoring our past with a fantastic program for you. And there's no one better than to kick off the program than our president, Adam Alpert.
Thank you, and welcome everybody. What a wonderful turnout. So first of all, before I say anything else, I have to give a tremendous yasher koach and thank you to Harry Weisel, whose hard work made tonight possible and made it as wonderful as it has been so far, and as I'm sure you'll see that it will be continuing forward. And I will say that this being the 36th anniversary of Beaver Lake, one of the things we should all recognize is that it has been the work of people like Harry over the last 36 years, people volunteering, giving of themselves, giving of their time, that has made Beaver Lake the wonderful experience that we've had over these years. So, Harry, thank you so much for all you've done. All right, so when Harry told me I was going to be speaking tonight, I thought, what is it that I should speak about? And I wanted to do something in line with the theme of what tonight was supposed to be all about, which is the 36th anniversary of Beaver Lake. So I contacted people who were there from the beginning. I contacted Tommy Carfunkel. I contacted Saul Fader. And I said, gentlemen, I was 7 years old at the time, so I don't know what was going on when this place was being started, when it was being founded and established. Give me a little insight, tell me a little bit about what went on when Beaver Lake first started. So they each wrote me a nice email, and what I took the liberty of doing was, I took the liberty of taking those two emails from Saul and from Tommy, combining them on my own into one, and I'm going to read them to you now, what I've combined from the two emails, and I hope you'll enjoy a little trip back to February 25th, 1982. The campus of Beaver Lake on Southwich Drive in Monticello was auctioned for sale in the Sullivan County Courthouse in a foreclosure auction. Camp Beaver Lake had occupied the site that had previously been run as Camp Machanayim. The property being sold contained 350 acres, including one large lake and a runoff lake, a clubhouse, 2 pools, a camp house, and units on the boys' campus, which was our side of the road, and girls' campus, which is on the now renter side of the road. A tennis court, baseball field, and other facilities. At the time, a group of Moonlight graduates who were seeking to start their own vacation colony have been looking for an appropriate location. The group included Heshi Spitzer and Nachman Kanofsky, who ultimately split off from the group and started Vacation Village. The remaining group included Tommy Carfunkel and Saul Fader, who were joined by Mike Peter Rutel, Asi Schoenfeld, and George Gutman. The latter two located the ad for the auction, and the group convened to recruit initial founders to fund for a bid, all of whom initially agreed to deposit $5,000 towards their commitment of $16,500 each. By the time of the auction, there were a total of 32 shareholders, and therefore each investment was reduced to $10,000, of which they deposited $1,500 before the auction, and the remaining $8,500 was due right before the closing. Saul Fader, Tommy Carfunkel, and Mike Peter Butel attended the auction on February 25th, 1982, and were the successful bidders with an offer of $280,000 for the property, if you can believe that. As Beaver Lake Estates had not yet been incorporated, the auction purchase agreement was signed off in the name of Babe John Trucking Corporation, which was an available corporation that Saul Fader had in his office. and a deposit of $28,000 was made. The balance of $8,500 pledged by each of the initial 32 shareholders was collected and paid, along with the relating costs for title insurance, liability insurance, etc. And we took title on March 29, 1982, in the name of our newly incorporated entity, Beaver Lake Estates Limited. Now, with the property in hand, the next critical steps were increasing the size of the initial shareholder group, drafting a shareholders agreement, drafting an architectural drawing of the proposed layout of the new community, doing the utility layout for water, sewer, electric, and other infrastructure, and retaining a competent contractor to develop the property. We were fortunate to have amongst our group Cindy Hook, who drew up the architectural plans, George Gutman, who coordinated the engineering needs, Saul Fader, who did the legal work, Mike Peter Patel, who assisted with the negotiating for prices and coordinating activities, and Tommy Carfunkel, who managed the whole operation. Tommy's friends concluded that he had more available time than anyone else, which Tommy comments is a very distorted perception of the heavy workload of a college professor. And that is how he emerged as the coordinator, a temporary position he took on that lasted over 30 years. After interviewing several prospective builders, we settled on a team consisting of Harold Wallen and his partner, Harry of Halo Bond Construction, who had experience in construction and development, but who were reluctant to get involved with an inexperienced group of developers who did not yet even have their finances in order. A critical meeting was held in the law offices of Saul Fader in downtown Manhattan, where Harold Wallen and his partner Bob attended on behalf of the builders, and Saul and Tommy and Mike Peter Patel attended on behalf of Beaver Lake. After negotiating terms and conditions back and forth for several hours, Harold and Bob were at an impasse as to whether or not they were willing to enter into the agreement. Harold was in favor and Bob was adamantly opposed. They agreed to make a decision based on the flip of a coin, which landed on heads, resulting in them entering into the agreement to develop Beaver Lake at a cost that was in excess of 25% better than the next lowest bidder. The next 2 years was an exciting period of time, with many of the founders spending substantial amounts of time in Beaver Lake, sleeping in bungalows, the former infirmary, which is now the counselor's house across the street, and even in a trailer brought up for that purpose. In addition to enjoying the vacant land, the lake, and the beautiful country, they spent a considerable amount of time coordinating with and instructing the builders, and at times, occasionally actually helping the contractors with their work. Cy Furtick chased away a curious bear by running after it with his towel. And they produced the next generation of Beaver Lakers while relaxing in the beautiful country weather, while spending most Sundays escorting potential buyers around 350 acres to highlight them to the many benefits that they would have by joining our growing family of shareholders. Even though a screening committee was established for admitting new shareholders, the committee only rejected one candidate throughout its entire existence. George Gutman's house was the first one to be built, so that we had a new house that was newly constructed to show potential buyers, in addition to the main building, the camp house, the bungalows on both sides, and sporting facilities. We added to those houses by the construction of the houses in the A and B circles, and then the adjacent P Road houses, and the conversion of the O circle bunks into beautiful winterized homes. Some of the originals felt that the rehab of the bungalows on this side was more economical than building a house. A lottery was organized, and 10 shareholders took over those units and made them into their homes. We thus had many new homes of a variety of styles, sizes to show potential new buyers who came upstate to see what we were also excited about. Some of the facilities were in massive disrepair and needed rehabilitation. The pools, we added a kiddie pool later on, the house for the caretaker, the camp house, which is still in use, the pool filter house, the boat house, which by the lake was ready to collapse. The main building invited emotional debates, which was reasonably sound and impressively ugly. Some wanted to replace it, but in a critical decision, the arsonist lost. Some basic laws to guide the growth of our community were established. For example, we will be a modern Orthodox community. On Shabbos, there will be no tennis playing, but we will be allowed to play volleyball. There will be mixed swimming, and there will be no dress code for the ladies. All shareholders were to be considered equal. English will be the official language of the community, but Hungarian was given special status. A secret and still controversial ballot was taken, and Minuk Svard was established for davening. During that initial period of time, Beaver Lake and Vacation Village placed weekly competing ads in the Jewish press, as you can now see outside, extolling our respective benefits and teasing the other with good-natured jabs. As you know, we have since grown to 89 shareholders with constantly improving facilities, services, and infrastructure, with many families, including 3 and 4 generations, from great-grandparents to great-grandchildren, who all enjoy it with friends and family at Beaver Lake. Okay, so that is the end of the part that came from Saul and Tommy. Thank you very much. I hope you all enjoyed I hope that took you back a little bit to what it was like in the beginning, and I hope you enjoyed that. But what I want to do now for another minute is take the time as we celebrate 36 years of Beaver Lake, because I speak on behalf of everybody. When I say that we all have enjoyed Beaver Lake over these 36 years, we all who are here, and of course many people who are not here, who have enjoyed Beaver Lake with us over that time. And I would like to express our appreciation, again on behalf of everybody, to the founders so long ago, because what you did was you created a community. And as Orthodox Jews, we know better than anybody else the value of community. Community has 2 sides to it. First of all, we all know it comes with arguments, it comes with conflict, it comes with disputes, but there's a flip side. It is people who do more than just share time at the pool together, or enjoy a show together, or eat chillin' together once a week. We are a group of people who over the past 36 years have provided comfort to each other in times of sorrow. We have shared in each other's happy occasion, and as its president, I can tell you I have learned over the last few years, because I have seen it firsthand, the ways that we have been there for each other in times of need. And I can tell you, sometimes these things are seen, sometimes they are not, but it is a beautiful thing to see. And it has inspired me to see the times when people in Beaver Lake have been there for each other in those times of need. So to you, the founders, I say to you, you should be very proud of yourselves for what you have done, because who would have thought, when you got together 36 or 37 years ago, with just the idea to create this, that you really would have created such a wonderful community that we have now all had the opportunity to benefit from and partake in. So for that, on behalf of everybody, I say thank you very much. With that, I will now turn the floor over to the man who is probably most responsible for that. I give you Tommy Carfunkel, please come up, who will be presenting a slideshow to you. Tommy?
Thank you, Adam. Good to welcome everyone. Adam took some of my best lines, so I will have to improvise. I would like to share some experiences and thoughts with you on the birth and beginning of Beaver Lake Estates, our vacation community for the past 36 years. I recognize that my time is limited, and your patience for speech is even more limited, so I will try to be brief. It is difficult, bordering on the impossible, to visualize what this place looked like when we purchased this property at a public auction in February of 1982. After all these years, I am still overwhelmed and awed by the self-confidence and can-do determination of the original group that embarked on this risky adventure. It was a group effort, but I would like to mention some names that Adam has also mentioned. The late Assi Schoenfeld, who convinced us, despite our rational thoughts, that the dream of building a modern Orthodox vacation community was something that we could accomplish. We were the original dreamers. Unfortunately, we did not patent the term, so it has been borrowed, certainly recently, by many others. I think that Hasi deserves special consideration and special. George Gottman, who actually uncovered this unknown place, an abandoned camp. In addition, he was our super competent engineer who supervised the local professional engineers, who guided us, encouraged us, who dealt with the local engineers who most of the time did not know what to do next. He guided them, he negotiated with them, he berated them, and he accomplished what we needed to accomplish by building a wonderful infrastructure that is still serving us today. We are outside the village of Monticello. We had to establish our own water system, our own sewer system, walkways, roads. We had to rehabilitate existing buildings. We had to build, and George was responsible. Thank you, George. Sol Fader, my good friend, Sol Fader. He took care of all the legal matters, and we had so many legal matters. We had contracts, permits. We had to fulfill state requirements, local requirements. We had to deal with the Attorney General. We had to deal with each other, and he was always there. Thank you, Sol Fader. Moish Buregutel. Moish was our chief negotiator. He negotiated with the contractors, with the subcontractors, negotiated with the local bureaucrats, negotiated with innocent bystanders. Negotiation was basically what he liked to do, and he did an excellent job. We thank Moish. Simeon Hook, low-key and very efficient all the time. We had to create prototype housing, very cost-conscious housing. We established 4 prototypes, small houses, 2 bedrooms, big houses, 3 bedrooms. And we had to make sure that it fitted into everybody's budget, so the cost of a house in those days was something like $22,000, $23,000, $24,000. Simeon Hook was responsible, and Simeon Hook did a fantastic job. Thank you, Simeon. From the very beginning, our wives played a very important role in doing whatever we were doing. Mindy Fader was our chief cheerleader. Not only that, she was in charge of sales. She would take around customers, potential customers, and tourists to show what Beaver Lake was all about, to paint a picture of what eventually will emerge over here. Thank you, Mindy Fader. And there was Judy Carfunkel. Our basement in Staten Island became the headquarters of our organization. We had samples there, carpet samples, kitchen cabinet samples, shingles. My books were pushed aside, and people would come there to order their homes. In addition, she encouraged me all the time. There were a lot of frustrations, disappointments. We had to deal with disputes, squabbles, and she always told me that I can handle it. As always, she was right, and we had succeeded. This started 36 years ago. 36 years ago, this was an abandoned desert. This place needed our constant attention, and we were willing to give it, and we were successful because we are highly motivated. The core group consisted of families that spent vacations together at Moonlight for a number of years, and for a variety of reasons we have decided to establish our own place. We had lots of meetings, exciting meetings, hysterical meetings, a lot of screaming. Unfortunately, none of these meetings were taped, so I can only suggest to you what was going on. There were a lot of skeptics who would come to meetings just to enjoy the spectacle. And they would tell us that eventually we'll consider this. A couple of days ago, David Kupferman showed me the original notes that he took as a original member of one of these meetings. Eventually he purchased, I believe 20 years later, and he's now a welcome member of our community. Thank you, Tibi, for having persistence. The challenge came when we found out that there's going to be a public auction, Beaver Lake. The auction actually was scheduled for February, and Nasi Schoenfeld called a meeting, so let's put up the money. We were able to collect some money, but we are not certain how many people were willing to make the final commitment. As Adam suggested, the three of us came up to Monticello with $40,000 in our pockets. Much of the money was in 20s, which we had collected the day before, and we were ready to bid. The public auction took place at the courthouse in Monticello. Besides the public officials there, the only other people besides us who were there were the mortgage holders, who wanted to make sure that they will be protecting their mortgage interest. So they bid the mortgage price, which was $279,000. We came in at $280,000, and we bought the property. And we put 10% down, and our obligation was to come up with the balance within 30 days. During this period of time, while we were in Monticello, our other members were frantically calling all the people who have ever attended meetings to ask them to make a commitment. By the time we returned to New York City, we had 32 commitments. Those were the original members of Beaver Lake Estates. Many of them are still with us today, Baruch Hashem. It proved to the skeptics that it was possible to accomplish what we had dreamt about. Within 3 years we sold out, and we built a magnificent community. Now I'm skipping some of the stuff that Adam has mentioned, including the funny line about English becoming the official language. Just want you to know that it was a compromise. It is said that politics is the art of compromise. So we compromised on English, but it was given to understand that Hungarian will be allowed to be spoken at the pool, in shul, and in private homes. I also want to mention that we decided to have a democratic organization, annual election for office holders and board members, and make democratic decisions. One of the first decisions we had to make was to decide whether to follow meaning Ashkenaz or meaning Sfard in our davening for the only minyan that was in existence in those days. A secret ballot was held, and the overwhelming majority enthusiastically voted for meaning Sfard. That's how it came about. Beaver Lake has succeeded in becoming an important part of our lives. We look forward to spending time here among our friends. The pioneers who started this community have been blessed with children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren who love to come here, who love to enjoy the facilities, particularly those who do not pay any assessment. The modest homes that we started, 2 bedrooms and 3 bedrooms, disappeared as the families grew and the houses were expanded again and again and again. Over the years, we have come to respect each other and we work together. As a community, we are noted for our welcoming of guests and for the support of Chesed and Tzedakah. We have renters who became shareholders. We have guests who came here for a weekend and have become shareholders and have joined our community. We have had the privilege of providing support to each other in difficult times and sharing in each other's simchas, and we hope that we shall enjoy more simchas in the years to come. Now we are going to look at some slide pictures, and I want to thank Harry, who not only fathered this meeting, but he was involved in all aspects of the technical development. Bear with me as we look at some of these pictures. Okay, this is the lake we are all familiar with. The first time we came to Beaver Lake was the winter time. Everything was covered by snow, and we were told that there is a lake. We were looking for it, we couldn't find it, but eventually spring came, and this is the lake that we are still enjoying today. It's a beautiful scenery. This is an aerial photograph that was taken by the only licensed pilot in our group, Cy Fertig. We were told that there is a beaver dam. If there's a beaver lake, there has to be a beaver dam. That's Ed Clark, our first caretaker, who was with us for about 12 years. This is how it looked like. But it survived, and it is still there. That's George Gutman standing by the pool. The pool is a gunite pool that we inherited. We fixed it up, and it is still serving us well. The start of construction. That's Cy Fertig again. He landed and he got on the bulldozer. That's Cy Fertig pretending to be a carpenter. That's Mush Bureauvital shaking hands with Harry Gitlitz. Harry Gitlitz was the partner in the contract that we had negotiated. Harry told me at the end that if he meets Mush again, he will kill him.
That's Vader. Only 2 bedrooms.
Move on. We advertised in the Jewish press. The only phone calls that I would get would be from people who wanted to know how come we have mixed swimming at the pool.
I remember.
Who are- Some of you may recognize Essie Schwartz. That's Judy Kalansky and Judy Garfunkel. Larry Fader and Father. Somewhat embarrassing. Toby and Joe Fader. Fran Bureau. This was the place Adam described where the final negotiation took place, and you can identify the 5 representatives there. The gentleman in the middle was the project manager, and George and Maisha making sure that he's not going to run away. Simeon Hook in the foreground. This is the grand opening at Beaver Lake. You can see the original sign is still there, Camp Beaver Lake. Our sign would come much later when we could afford it. Again, that's Marshbury Goodell, the only one who carried a heart at around with him. And that's the future Dina Siegel there. The day camp, very important. Just want you to know that we made the decision in the very beginning that the day camp is going to be a top-rate operation, and every family was obliged to provide the tuition for one day camp child, even those who did not send any children to day camp. Subsequently, the board took it upon itself to basically cover the deficit every year.
All right, go on.
You're welcome.
Many of these young campers are now parents with children who go to camp. At the grand opening that we had, the grand opening concluded with Mindy Fader reading a poem that she has composed, and I would like to turn the microphone over to her. And thank you for your attention.
Whoops. So good luck, everybody. The poem that I'm going to read was the poem I read, that I wrote and read at the grand breaking ceremony, which was on August 29th, 1982. And you will see after reading it's a short poem, that I was asked to add on as the years have passed to make it more current. So this is what I read at that time. For many years, we've had a dream with visions of sky and trees, where we could stroll in endless woods and enjoy the mountainous breeze. And in this dream, we'd all have homes that we could use year-round, a perfect sort of hideaway where nature's gifts abound. This dream was shared by many friends who joined us in the quest to find a very special place, one far above the rest. This dream became reality a few short months ago when Beaver Lake was found and bought while trudging through the snow. Its wintry wonders made us swoon, its magic caught our eyes. Its summer splendor shone right through. We knew our choice was wise. The birth of Beaver Lake Estates brought dozens to our fold. In many states and distant lands, our vision was passed and told. Our family grew by leaps and bounds as strangers became new friends. And soon, a brand new goal was shared by all to break ground by summer's end. We've labored long and toiled quite hard, this dream to help create. And this is why we're here today, to meet and celebrate. Our construction work is underway. Our homes will soon be done. And by next year, we'll all be here to enjoy what we've begun. That was part one. And here we are today. Today, we all live that dream we've started years ago. Our homes are filled with many guests. We're always on the go. The lake and pools have been improved and now are state of art. Our camp and courts are just supreme. These enhancements please our heart. Throughout these years, we've made new friends as homes were bought and sold. Each new face has added life to help improve our fold. But with heavy heart, it grieves me so to think of friends we've lost. Most we hear from the very start. In our hearts they are embossed. The pioneers can now sit back and watch with pride and quell, as now our children are moms and dads. We're sure they'll all do as well. The baton of power has now been placed in the hands of a younger crew who have their dreams and energies with eagerness they will do. May Hashem continue to bless us all with good health and fun and laughter, to enjoy our beautiful and peaceful treasures for now and ever after. For now, this is now a current video of our dream of the future.
going to wrap this up, and then we begin our real party. For those of you who stay on afterwards, we have a DJ who's going to keep us going here till the wee hours of the morning or until I go back to sleep. You may have noticed we have in the back, there's a t-shirt hanging on the wall there. We are providing t-shirts to celebrate our anniversary here, 2 per household. We'll be handing them out at the concessions starting tomorrow. So drop by the concession and pick up your 2 shirts, and there'll be additional shirts for sale. So please do that. Let me just, a couple of thanks here. First to my wife, and also the editor of the bulletin. So you guys hopefully enjoying that. She's helped me all along the way here for weeks as we've been planning this along. Also to Steve Schwartz, who's coordinated the t-shirts, and to Heidi, who created that artistic logo you can see. Our event coordinator, Jonathan, many of you don't know him, but Jonathan is one of our counselors here. He's the guy walking around right in front of me here. Jonathan, raise your hand, our event coordinator, instrumental in making all this happen. The canoe is his idea. Also the Gavia chef behind the scenes who helped to prepare all the foods. So, also, obviously, want to thank Adam for his opening remarks here, and of course to Mindy for that memorable poem, and to the entire help that we had here to make this thing happen. So with that, wait, did I miss somebody? Adam, did I miss somebody? Oh, I did miss somebody. One more thing.
Okay, so when he got up to speak tonight, Tommy Carfunkel thanked a lot of people, but there's really, I think, one person that we all know deserved the most thanks, not really for tonight so much, but more for the last 36 years of Beaver Lake. Can anybody hear me? It's a song. Yeah. And of course, we all know very well who that is, and that, of course, is Tommy Carfunkel. So Tommy, would you please come up? One more time, Tommy, come on up. So we got Tommy a small gift. It is really more of a token. On behalf of all of Beaver Lake, it's a token of our appreciation to you. And we got you a very nice framed photograph of Beaver Lake from the air. And we put an inscription on it, which reads, upside down. It says, presented to Tommy Carfunkel on the occasion of the 36th anniversary of Beaver Lake Estates, in grateful appreciation of your monumental efforts to build and sustain our community. Thank you. Enjoy. And again, on behalf of all Beaver Lake, thank you. And with that, yeah, hold it up. Here, Harry. Tommy, thank you. Okay, you may take it home.
You want to take it home?
And with that, thank you very much. We're going to start the party now, so everybody can please get up. We're going to move the chairs.